Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lilu Nishmas Imi Mirosi Rusmas Mordechai. Today's shir is being sponsored. I'm doing it out of order, B'dafka, because it's part of the sugya. Gedalia D. Miller in the schus of launching our next KesherNafshi.org Shabbaton to help Klal Yisrael. Anything to help Klal Yisrael. It's for parents with struggling teens and adults. Happening Bezos Hashem, June 10th to 13th, Rosh Chodesh Tammuz in New York. Sponsored by Menachem Mateh, Lili Nishmas Yosef Yeshaya ben Menachem Mendel, Badner. We're all very familiar with his Zayda, his Neshama should have an Aliyah. By Eli Lavi, Hatzlacha, Uparnasa Toivo, Ubrius. What happened was, this was a very bad idea. Eli Lavi gave a ride to Fishel from Official Catering. Fishel, when he came to Eretz Yisrael, used to drive in every morning to the shir back in the day. Remember the good old days when we were in the Bais Medrash? And I think Eli Lavi is Israeli, and Fishel told him, come inside for a second. He came in, and that was the worst decision in terms of money, because since then it kept on costing him, keeps on sponsoring. So whatever money I guess he made on that ride, I don't even know if he made money or not, but Akopanim is a big part of the shir now. So Shkoyach, where is this? Oh, I'm holding in the middle. Hatzlacha b'nei Tover b'yus l'bnoisai, hatzlacha b'toyer b'yer shamayim l'bonai l'bnei hatzlacha b'yeshiva, something like that. Okay. Still not good, Eli? My screen, the Zoom screen. Okay, hold on, like this. All right, so I won't see you though. Daniel Averbrook. But we're good? YouTube is good? Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. So what am I? So YouTube is not good? Should I make YouTube higher? Yes. Let's see, because hold on a second. It's not going to work. Oh, you know what I could do? Maybe I can make Zoom lower. Hold on. How about this? Does that work? But then, better? Okay, but YouTube is shtickle crooked. All right, back. We got to get back to the Bismillah Rabbi Sai. Somebody else could handle the camera and all that stuff. Daniel Averbrook, in memory of the 25th yard side of my dear mother-in-law, Gossi Ditchik Gittelbas Moshe Nissen. She was a woman who dedicated her life to giving tzedakah to those in need. May her neshama have an aliyah. Amen. Who else do we have here? You want to make sure here, Yeshua, if you're already here, take sure. We have another one, believe it or not, two sponsors for the same name, Menachem Mendel ben Simcha. And Opie, sorry, that's Menachem Mendel ben Simcha, I'm going to get there in a second. Lilu Nishmas, Opie, Yosef Yeshaya ben Menachem Mendel. Two, I guess, grandchildren. One is a Badner sponsored, and one is a Mata that's sponsored. So Yishkoyach, Menachem Mata, the famous film Magachir, and the Badners. Now listen to this. Menachem Mendel ben Simcha, nobody really knows who that is. That's Kalman's father, who would do the turning of the daf every day, and you probably get at least once a day. There's always a mention. But what happened today is that Eli Dykman called in the morning, and he asked if he could sponsor the shir Lili Nishmas Menachem Mendel ben Simcha. Why? Kalman sponsored this siyum in the 5 towns. Look at this, gorgeous hall. And some chevra from Bar Park went there. One of them was Eli Dykman. So Eli Dykman offered him some money for the siyum. He said no, sponsor the shir. Rabbi said this is achdos, a real true Bar Parker going to the 5 towns, a real true 5-towner. One grace mishpacha, and that's how it is. I think that's it for today, right? Okay, I got to read some email or something. I don't have any emails. Oh, here. Parnas HaChodesh, by the way, ran out of time already. Parnas HaChodesh, Shia Greenfield from Green Star Electric, who, by the way, is also very instrumental in the whole Yeshiva World News campaign. And Yossi Klein, who wants to remain anonymous, from Superior Plumbing in Muncie. Rabbi said, here's email from Moshe Rifkin real quickly. I started listening to the Daf Yomi shir a few days ago when you started Pesachim. I saw an advert on Yeshiva World News. Thank you, Yossi Klein and Shia Greenfield. That's what he writes in parentheses. I recently left Koil and wanted to switch to Daf Yomi. So he's a Koil guy that wanted to switch, but I didn't want it to start in the middle of Erevin, which is a huge Yetzer Hara. Don't start in the middle of Masechta. Wait until the next Masechta. Don't start the diet today. Wait until after Yom Tov. That's Yetzer Hara classic number one. But I'm not giving him Musar because he started Erevin. Baruch Hashem. I also wanted to find the right shir. I tried a shir in my neighborhood when Shabbos started, but it wasn't the right shir for me. When I saw an ad for your shir, I watched a few minutes of it and I liked it, so I decided to join. It wasn't just any Daf Yomi shir that just reads the Gemara. It was exactly what I was looking for. There's no other way to say it, but Yishurim are Gishmak. They're amazing. Thank you very much. I'm originally from Chicago. That's another reason why I'm reading his email. And now I live in Lakewood. I think that my parents, Baruch and Bracha Rifkin, have lived there for the last 35 years. Also, you mentioned that a shir that a pekadon is a collateral. I asked for the word and somebody said collateral. I loved it. Isn't it collateral a mashkin? Yes, he's right. If I'm not mistaken, a pekadon is an object given to someone to watch. Maybe a deposit. He's right. Deposit is a better word. Mashkin is an object that the lender can take if the borrower doesn't pay the loan. Moshe Rifkin. Do we have? Oh, we ran out of time. And look at this giant email, but I got to read some of it here. I'm not going to read it. We ran out of time here. This is from Uri Fine. I'm sitting here and realizing just how small the world is. Bekitza, yesterday was his father's yahrzeit. And a whole langa maisa, but basically during Shiva, two people stand out. During Shiva, he says Yeshua, he's not going to mention his last name, Aaron Price, as he was getting up in a Shiva house, he says to the Aval, he says, here, take this business card. What's on the business? 8-minute daf. So he tells him, I don't need the 8-minute daf. I'm a Maggid Shir. I give a shir in Bavli and Yerushalmi, and I finish Shas 4 times. No, thank you. He says, no, you got to watch. The kid's here, he's being persistent, it says here. So in the Aval house, making the Aval, just lost his father, raised him a cup about the 8-minute. He says, listen to this. He also met another person there, Larry Pearl. He realized Larry Pearl is his cousin. Larry Pearl also comes to the shir, watches the shir. I took his advice and started watching first the 8-minute daf. Then I watched the full shir. And I've not missed a day. So that's a year. He hasn't missed 365 days. Even though I was giving shir, I still watched your shir. And then he says his brother, who used to come to the shir, dropped out of shir since his father's nifter. He took it very hard. And then he says, I was very touched by a very raw nerve when you said the terrible news that Larry Pearl had a stroke. So he's asking that we should daven for Elazar Chaim ben Chaya Sora. He's in Tel HaShomer, if anybody wants to go visit him. And he wishes he could come to MDY. He's right now in Eretz Yisrael, but not. Okay. Zog the Heilige Gemara. We are holding 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Hey Amud Beis. The Gemara just told us that this is Gemina. Shalom Aleichem Eli Lavi. I see you on there. Shalom Aleichem to all the great friends. Official from Baltimore, as we mentioned. All these great guys. Eli Neuberger, Shalom, I see you. Israel Fried from Vienna. Unbelievable. So, we just finished saying that if there's a difference if you have a responsibility on the guy's chametz. If you take responsibility on the guy's chametz, then it's like it's your chametz. And you have to be mevared, you have to get rid of it. Says the Gemara, Hanicha lamanda omar dover hagorim lemamen kemamen dami. Oh, it's an interesting sugya, dover hagorim lemamen. Meaning, right now, you don't own it really. You don't own it. The guy owns it. But what happens if something happens to the chametz? Then you own it. For instance, let's say somebody steals your chametz. So, he has to return whatever he stole. Somebody steals it from him. Now they are chayiv. You could say, the first ganav could just say, here, take your chametz back. The way it is, it's also about, no, take it back. But if somebody steals it from the ganav, now the ganav has nothing to return. So he has to pay true money. He has to give the real value. That's dover hagorim lemamen. We'll see it in a second a little better. So if you say, Gorim HaMamayin L'Mamayin, right now, you don't own anything. But if it gets lost, if something gets damaged there, you are going to owe it, so it has monetary value. So therefore, if it has monetary value to you, you have some sort of connection, a monetary connection, then you are chayiv for the chametz. You don't owe anything, zero. So what connection do you have to the guy's money? So what if you have responsibility? The Torah says, the Torah says, even in this situation, I don't want you to find any chametz, even if you don't have a true, strong connection. As long as you are responsible for it, that's enough to be chayiv in lo yimatzeh. Iked amri, and some say, let's start from the other way. According to the Amud, it says, it's nothing. So that's why, top of Daf Yomi, Hainu the Itzrich, therefore I need a special pasuk lo yimatzeh. The pasuk says it's not yours. Even though it's not yours, I don't want you to find anything, even if it has a shmek, it smells a little bit of chametz. I don't want you to have it. But if it's full-fledged mammon, it's yours. You have a connection to it, a monetary connection. So why do I need a special pasuk? At the end of the day, right now, it's not, nobody took it, nobody stole it. So what's going on here? For instance, if, let's say, I am magdish an animal, I say this cow is to the Bais Hamikdash, and I take responsibility on it. So if somebody comes along and steals that animal, typically when you steal from Hegdish, you don't pay double. Hegdish, there's no kefil, only when you steal from an individual. But in this case, since the owner has full responsibility, he has to pay for that cow. So it's as if you stole it from the owner. You didn't steal it from Hegdish. You stole it from the guy that was magdish it. Now all of a sudden. So, but in this case, nobody stole anything. Nobody took anything. It's the guy's chametz is right there. Nobody touched it. So I would think you have no obligation here. Come Ashmalong, you're still obligated. Bo Menei Mirava. You know, if you ever went to Cheder, a lot of schools, one of the Rebbe's favorite stories is, there was once a poritz in Europe, far away, and the Jew, he owned a bar, and the Jew at the end of the month couldn't pay his 2 ruble. It was Noirevayim. Rabbi said it was terrible, he's going to kill all the Yidden, and they davened, and a nace happened. The Jew, and he stumbled on, kids, 1,000 different varieties. But there is actually a very geschmackes story about a poritz that I think has a very good lesson. That there was a Jew that was very close to the poritz, and he owned a bar. He did own a bar, but he's very close to him. And the poritz went on a vacation, and the poritz told his right-hand man, "You take over." So the Jew at the end of the month comes to the poritz and tells the poritz, the second in command, he says, "You know, this month I'm missing 50 ruble." So he says, 50 ruble? Lay down on this table. He lays down on the table, he takes out his whip, and gives him 50 lashes, 1 lash for each ruble. The guy goes home to Brachen, I can barely walk. What happened? He tells his wife the whole story. The poritz comes back, and the Jew goes to the poritz and says, "You know, you're not going to believe it. Your Meshuggah second in command give me 50 lashes?" He calls the guy and he says, "For every lash you gave this guy, you pay him 100 ruble." So 150 times 5,000 in Panovich, 5,000 ruble. The guy goes home, he tells his wife, and he starts crying. His wife, "What, 5,000 ruble? You don't have to work for the rest of your life, 5,000 ruble." He said, "If I would have known, I would have been missing more than 50 ruble. I would have told him I'm missing 100 ruble. So what's the lesson? The lesson is that many times in life, we have tsaras. We have different things. Everybody has tsaras. If we only understood how good the tsaras are for us. Another lash. Rabbi, give me another patch. It's all kedai. Boy many mirava. Behemas arnona chayeves b'bchora. You see, they had poritz back then also. And here's a ma'aseh shahaya. You have a poritz. He takes, the king, the ruler, whatever you want to call him, he takes 10% off the top, no matter what. In Eretz Yisrael, arnona, everybody knows what arnona is. It's a scary thing. It's property tax. You got to pay arnona if you ever rented a apartment. Arnona. So it's similar. It's taxes. You have to pay the 10% to the guy, to the ruler. It's a very interesting shaila. The guy is going to take 10% of all your animals, no matter what. So, in essence, I have a partner in my animals. And if you have a goy partner in your animals, you don't have to give a b'char. Any firstborn animal, you don't have to give to the kohen. Have a goy partner. Is that considered a partner? Says the Gemara, chayev is b'b'char and chayev is b'b'char. If you could get rid of this parrots, pay him off a little bit. Instead of giving him an animal, figure out how much an animal costs, give him cash. So he's not a true partner, he's not demanding the animal. Like the chayeves, certainly there's no shutvis over here. You owe him, it's a monetary chiyuv. He's not a partner in your animal. If you can't get rid of him, he insists, I want 1 out of every 10 animals is mine. So he's a true partner. He's pater b'b'chayra. Amar lehu p'tura, you're pater. He's a real partner. What do we do with the Bais that says chayiv? He's talking about you get rid of him. Ikidamri, some say differently, completely different lashon. Regardless if you get rid of the guy with money, you are pater from b'chayra. Why? He's a real partner. End of story. He's always a partner. However, major halacha, isas ar noina. But what about the dough? You're a baker, and the parrots wants 10% of all your dough. Dough is the same thing. If you have a partner guy, you're pater from challah. Chayev is b'challah. You're always chayev and challah when it comes to a partnership with a guy. Why? So you pater, you should be chayev. You can never get rid of him. My taima behema isle koila isa lesle kala. What's happening is we have a problem. People don't know. They see you have a bakery, and they realize that you don't give any challah to anyone, so they're going to talk about it. They don't realize that the guy comes and takes from the dough. So just for that call, you have to be careful and give challah so nobody says any rumor or anything about you. All right, and Rashi points out. So now we can understand. Before that, we had the Bais that says chayeves. That's talking about challah. We don't have to make the distinction between if you could get rid of him with money, not get rid of him with money. Now we could just say the Bais that says chayev is talking about dough. The Bais that says pater is talking about animals. Tan Rabbana. Nachri shenichlas lechatzer sheYisrael u'b'tzeiku b'yodeh. Guy comes into your house with a slice of pizza on Pesach. Ein zokuk levair. You don't have to remove the guy. What if he, as Rabbi Rifkin pointed out, the Kyle guy, he deposited the pizza by him? Zakuk levair. Rashi says it's with the achrayus. He took responsibility, so now he deposited by him. It's considered his since he has responsibility. He must destroy. But if he designated him a room on the side, he says put it there without yes, it's in your house, but it's the guy's. That's his room. That's his corner. I'm not mechuyev. Shenemar loy yimatzei. Why are you not chayiv? Because it says lo yimatzei. Ma'ika Amar. Lo yimatzei is telling you that you cannot have chametz, not that you could have a room for a guy with chametz. It's not a heter, it's a iser. Amar Rav Papa areishakai. It's talking about the first part. V'achik Amar. If kido etzloi zokik levair. Yes, it's talking about the part of the Bais that's talking about the iser. If the guy deposits by you, you have to burn it. Shenemar yimatzei. Because it says you cannot have any chametz in your house. It's talking about a heter. If you give the guy a room and you don't have to destroy it. Why? There's no achrei shenemar lo yimatzei b'vatechem. It says over here, as we had yesterday, the pasuk lo yimatzei. Bal yirah, bal yimatzei, lo yimatzei, but it says b'vatechem, in your own house. V'ha lavdideyu. This is not your house. The nachi ki kamayel lebeis and avshei kamayel. He's going to his own room. It's not your bias. So what does that mean? I let the guy use my room. So it just turned into the guy's. So basically you're telling me anytime I let somebody use something, especially if I take rent for it, so it's not yours anymore. Well, that's a major problem. Because in Mesachtes Avodah Zarah it says, L'meimru d'schirus kanya, v'tnan, ab b'magam shomru laskir, loi lebeis dira amru, mipnei shemachnisim v'toich Avodah Zarah. You're not permitted to rent a house, especially in Eretz Yisrael, to a guy, because he's going to put Avodah Zarah in there. That's a big problem for me, or anybody that owns real estate. But it's not such a problem today, because they don't really, truly do Avodah Zarah. Although one time I walked in, it was not so geschmack, it was an Indian apartment, whatever. Okay. But if it becomes 100% the non-Jews just because he rented it, we just established that when it comes to chametz, it's not your house. It's not the Jewish, it's the guy, he owns it 100%, the chametz is in his room. So why is it when it comes to Avodah Zarah, you say, no, it's the landlord's house. Don't rent it to him because he's going to bring Avodah Zarah into it. Says the Gemara, so yotza zeh she'eni matzah biyadcha. In other words, you don't have a connection to that chametz. You can't just go in there and take the guy's chametz. Chametz is different than Avodah Zarah. Over here it's a kula. It says lo matzah that you have to have access to it. You don't have access to it. It's in the guy's possession. If he finds you trying to take his donut, he'll kill you. So it's not yimatzeh. Omer Rav Yud Omer Rav. Rabbi said this is like mamish. I'm just trying to compare it to Eruvin. Lechi, a kaira. I'm going to make a kaira on my Rosh Hashanah. Over here, this is halacha l'maisa. It happens, and it happened. I remember when I was a kid. It happened to my father. He found a box of ice cream cones in the basement. A whole box on Yantiv. What do you do? Koifa olavis akli. I cheated a little bit. I'm looking for pictures. I took this from Eruvin. So there was a picture of a guy. Remember, all the way at the end, there was a mouse in the Beis Hamikdash. I just covered the mouse with the donut. Whatever. You should know that underneath this donut is a mouse. I'm just telling you. So, what do? Koifa olavis akli. You take a pot and you put it over. Why? You cannot touch this because it's muktzah. You can't do anything with chametz. You can't eat it. Muktzah, so you can't move it. You can't even take it out of your house. You can't burn it. So, but what about the aveira of bal yimatzah, bal yiroba? You mevatel it. You did bittul. It's not yours. So you put a kli on it. What's the problem? The problem is you might come to eat. You want some ice cream on Yantiv. You might take the cone. So that you cover it. What if you didn't do bittul? You didn't do bittul. And now you have it. So there's a shaila here. Shulchan Aruch paskins like the Rambam that all you do is you put a kli. I'm just saying this because there's a cute vart here. I thought. Some say that you burn it. Whatever. So, no, the Rambam says you put a kli on it. But what about the Issa D'Oraisa of Bal Yiro, Bal Yamatzah? How do you get rid of the Issa D'Oraisa? How does the Rambam get out of it? At the end of the day, you have the Issa D'Oraisa, and then putting a kli on it doesn't help. So says the Maram Chalaba. He says a very interesting thing. Since the Rabbanon don't allow you to burn it, so then you're onus b'takanas chachamim. You're einus. Okay, just thought is interesting. Says the Gemara, Omar Rava, im shalagdashu ein tzarich. What if you have a bunch of ice cream cones that belong to the Beis Hamikdash? You don't have to put a kli on it. Why? My time, because people stay away from it. Everybody knows, Hegdish you don't touch. So there's no chashash, you might come to eat a Hegdish ice cream cone when during the year you don't touch it. Everybody knows, that's the Hegdish stuff, don't touch it. Another halacha from Rav. So this halacha is slightly different than what we learned before. Over here, says Rashi, you can't just put a kli on it, because over here we're talking about before Yantiv and it's going to last all 7 days. The kli works for one day, you're stuck, you're on Yantiv, you this, that, you can't burn it right now, you can't build a mechitza. But over here it's before Yantiv. You can build a mechitza before Yantiv, so you have to build a mechitza to make a heker. To say, hey, this is not ours, this is the non-Jews, leave it. And if it's Hekdesh, you don't have to do it. My time, end of story. Just a very, what about, people are very careful with Hekdesh. They're very careful. You know what people are even more careful of? Chol of Yisrael. Or Pas Akum. The biggest aver in the world, Pas Akum. So what if somebody's makbid on Pas Akum? He never went to Dunkin' Donuts in his life. He's makbid. He's really makbid on Pas Akum. Is that Badal Minei? I stay away from it. For me, this is treif. Worse than Chazer treif. Pas Akum, there's people that are more makbid on Chol of Yisrael than on Nevelis and treifus. So Pas Akum, I'm very makbid. Is that Badal Minei? So believe it or not, the Mishnah Berurah brings it down. He says there's somebody that wanted to say that it is. It's not. You don't stay. It's not like staying away from Hekdesh. Somebody sails out he's going on vacation. Happens to us all the time. You go into Eretz Yisrael a month before Pesach. When do you do Bir Chometz? Do you do Bir Chometz? He goes on a trip. Let me show you my chart real quickly. So basically we have Rav, he says, if you leave before 30 days green, don't need to do Bir Chometz. If you leave within 30 days of Pesach, you have to do Bir Chometz. In this Rav, we have an Abaya and a Rava. Abaya is talking about within 30 days. He makes a distinction. Depends. Does he want to come back or not want to come back? Within 30 days, if he has no intent of coming back, his trip is to after Pesach, then he doesn't have to do beer. But if he has intent to come back, then he's mechuyev to. He must do b'dika, red. Says Rava, what are you talking about? If he has intent to come back, it doesn't matter if it's 30, 40, 100, 2,000 days before Pesach, you have to do beer. You have intent to arrive on Pesach, you show up and the donuts are on the counter, of course you have to do beer. So therefore, Rava switches it. He makes the same distinction as Abaya, but he makes it in before 30 days. Abaya makes the distinction within 30 days. He says, no, before 30 days, and he has no intent to come back, then you don't have to do beer. But when you have intent to come back, you always have to do beer. It's always red. Let's see inside. Before 30 days, if he leaves 31 days before Pesach, you don't have to do beer. But if you leave within 30 days, you have to do beer. Now, Rav doesn't have Rav doesn't mention. Does he have intent to come back? When is he coming back? Doesn't talk about it. When he's going to come back on Pesach. But if he doesn't intend to come back on Pesach, he doesn't have to do beer. What are you talking about? If he has intent to come back on Pesach, doesn't matter when. It could be months, a half a year before. It could be 9 months before, a year before. You have to do bittul. So he makes the same exact distinction as Abaya, but he switches it to if you leave before 30 days. When don't you have to do bdika and you left more than 30 days before Pesach when you have no intent to come back? But if you do have intent to come back, there's no difference when you leave. If you have intent to come back on Pesach, according to Rava, you always have to do beer. Rava goes according to his own shita. If you take your house and you make it a storehouse, you fill it up with wheat, you pile the wheat on top of your chametz. There's chametz underneath. If you did this 30 days before Yontiv, you don't have to do beer. Now beer is always with fire. But over here, since your chiyuv of beer only came after it was already buried, you can't bury chametz l'chatchila. But you buried it 2 months before Pesach when you never had a chiyuv of beer chametz. So now once the chiyuv comes, it's already buried. So we're going to let you go. That's only because you have no intent to take out the stuff from your storehouse. But if you have intent to remove your stuff and you're going to uncover the chametz, you have a problem. Says the Gemara, what's this 30 days? What does it correspond to? Why 30? Why not 37? The famous halacha before Pesach, the Rav gets up and starts talking about Hilchas Pesach. What about before Sukkot? So is Machlokes if it's all Yom Tovim or only Pesach, because Pesach has a lot of halachas. But I'm going to tell you a chiddush that not everybody knows, and that is that on Yontif itself you have a chiyuv to learn Hilchos Chag. You must open up your Mishnah Brura and learn Hilchas Sukkah on Sukkot. I don't know if everybody knows that. Chiyuv. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer Shtei Shabbosos.
For some reason, the sound quality is changing sometimes when you're talking.
Maybe because I'm moving like this. Okay, so Rabbi Isai, what's going on here is as follows. According to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, it's only 2 weeks before. I don't know what to do. Yes. Like this. I need a different mic. Okay, we got to get another mic. We're going to have Leon Welcher flying from South Africa with a mic. All right. Zog the Gemara. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer Shtei Shabbosos. It's not 30 days, it's 2 weeks. My time of the Tanakama. What's the nafkamina? So now the Gemara is just going to explain to us, where do we get 30 days? Where do we get 2 weeks? What's going on here? We just turned to Daf Amud Beis, sponsor Lili Nishmas Ruchama Chaya Fruma Alea Shalom Bas Reb Doiv Pinchas Yibadal L'Chaim Toivim, and also Lili Nishmas Reb Chil Shraga Ben Avram Alevi Olav Shalom, sponsored by Anonymous Yoeli from Lakewood. Second one is Lili Nishmas Menachem Mendel Ben Simcha by Kalman from the Five Towns. And the third is sponsored by the Fine and Pearl families in the Schus of a Refuah Shlema from Mindel, Elka, Bas, Edel, she should have a Refuah Shlema B'Karev. So, what's the 30 days? Sharei Moshe Oimed B'Pesach Rishonu Mazer Al Pesach Sheni. Yes.
Somebody called me yesterday and wants to know if they can sponsor, like we do turn the daf, they want to sponsor the next Mishnah. Whenever you get to the next Mishnah, they want to sponsor the next Mishnah.
Listen, I said already, everything's for sale. Even the Hadron, somebody paid $10,000 for the Hadron. You got it. Anybody, I have no problem. $5,000 for the next Mishnah. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever it is. Can we talk after share? Or we can just shmooze now? Hold on a second. I'll put this mic nicely here. Let's go. So let's think about it. Should be 180 to 500. What do you want? How much? All right, let's go weiter. I'll see you in Shachar. So shmooze during Chazor Shatz Chaz V'Shalom. Yeah, why not? Anything. But the Mishnah is usually a time that I stop and I say hello to people. Here, we'll stop and say hello to your father-in-law. Avi Epstein, Dr. Avi Epstein, Shalom Aleichem. Simon Cohen, I haven't seen you. Why are you not on your bike today? And Shmuley Weisfish is on. Look at that, from Manchester. Shmuley Weisfish with his father, Avram. Gewaldig. And Mort Bloomberg, who I see every single day, but I forget to say hello to him. Shalom Aleichem, Mort. Shalom Aleichem, Phil Barone. And Dr. Ari Muzenkis is on. Also big. It's a big schus. You should know. You don't know what you do. You think you're just another one of the 153 people on Zoom. It's not true. Each and every one is it's unbelievable. It gives me a lot of simcha. Yishkoach Rabari. Says the Gemara. So it says by Moshe Rabbeinu he was standing. People came to ask him, what do we do? We're tamei. He said, don't worry about it. In a month from now, you'll bring a carbon. So you see, 30 days before. Tosfos asked Avi's question. At the end of the day, they came to ask him. It's not that a Rav got up and gave drushes about Hilchas Pesach. They said, Rabbi, what do we do? Reb Moshe Rabbeinu, what do we do? We're tamei. And he had to tell them the answer. Says Tosfos, he didn't have to be Meirich. He could have said, you don't do it today. There'll be an answer later on. The fact that he went into the details and he gave them the halachas of what they're going to do in a month from now, you see, 30 days. Okay. Fine, we see 30 days. Reb Shimon Gamliel doesn't like it. He says, he was already talking then about the Korban Pesach, and so he continued, but it's not that you have to, that 30 days is important for every Chag and Pesach in general. Moshe Rabbeinu at that exact time. My time, the Reb Shimon Gamliel. So where did Reb Shimon Gamliel get 2 weeks? Rosh Chodesh is 2 weeks before Pesach, and he's standing and giving drushes 2 weeks before. Shenemar, HaChodesh hazeh lochem Rosh Chodashim, Uchsiv dabra al kol adas Yisrael lemor besol HaChodesh hazeh v'yikchu lehem ish sele beis avos. Says the Gemara, Great. Who said he was standing there Rosh Chodesh? Maybe it happened on the fourth day of the month. So you have Chodesh Rishon, and they did the Pesach on the 14th. How do you know that it happened on Rosh Chodesh? I'll tell you why. Asya midbar me midbar. There's a Gzer Shava Ksiv Hacha b'Midbar Sinai u'Ksiv Hasam by the Pekudim. It says Hashem Moshe b'Midbar Sinai ba'Olam Moed be'Echad laChodesh. Over here it says specifically on the first day of the month. Which month? LaChodesh Hasheni. On the second month, Mala Alom b'Rosh Chodesh, Avkam b'Rosh Chodesh. So by the Pekudim, it was the first day of the month, and it said the words Midbar. So over here it's the first day of the month, Midbar. So Moshe Rabbeinu was darshaning on Rosh Chodesh about what's going to happen in 14 days from now. When was the Pekudim? The second month. When is Korban Pesach? The first month. Ask the Gemara, the Nichtav Bereisha, the Chodesh Rishon. Look what's going on here. If you look at the pasuk over here, Bamidbar, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Aleph, the first pasuk in Bamidbar, Be'echad laChodesh Hasheni, the first of the second month. And look what happens. Bamidbar Perek test, 9 prakim later it says, Bashon HaShesh, let's say some Eretz Mitzrayim, B'Chodesh HaRishon. February comes before January. What's going on here? In the chronological order of the Torah, Perek Aleph talks about the second month of the year, and the 9th parak of Bamidbar talks about the first month of the year. So this is the famous line, Omar Rav Menashe Batachlifa Mishmei de Rav, Zoysi Meres, I learned from this, Ein Mugdam U'Mu'ucha BaTorah. There's no chronological order in the Torah. We can't prove anything from the way it's said in the Torah. Yes, obviously the first month comes before the second month, but in the Torah it's reversed. Omar Papa, I need to explain this to you. It's not as simple as you think. That's only when we're talking about 2 separate parshas, like over here. If it's in one parsha, it does have a chronological order. So Rabbi said everybody knows this balpeh because we say it every single day when we say korbanos every day. So Reb Shmuel Omer, b'shalosh eser midas haTorah nidreshes behem. Right? So if I ask you what's the 4th, 5th, and 6th, you obviously know. So the 4th one is klalu prat, and the 5th one is pratu klal. They seem very, very similar, but they're very, very different. And the 6th one is klal pratu klal. If the Torah generalizes and then what's the word? Generalization and whatever. It slipped my mind. Specification, Yishkoyach. I don't want any emails tomorrow from the Koil guys. But okay, that one I know. That one is a specification. So, when there's a generalization and specification, the halacha is, Ein beklal elo mashe beprat. It's exact. In other words, just an example. Let's say the Torah says, behema, you should bring animals as a carbon, and then the Torah says, a goat. So it's very, very specific, only goats. It can't be a cow, can't be anything. Because the Torah generalized and then specified it. But if it's the reverse, the Torah says, bring a goat, and then a second later the Torah says, bring behemoths, then it's everything. Then it's nasik klal moisef ala prat. It's more. So it's mamish the opposite. Klal prat is the opposite of pratu klal. And then I have a klal, we're not talking about the last one, klal pratu klal. A iatadon elokeina prat, it's similar. It's not bidyuk, it's not everything, it's in between. Fine. Says Rav Papa, very good. If there's no chronological order, then who's to tell you that it's a klal and then a prat? Because in Pasuk Aleph there's a klal, and in Pasuk Bais there's a prat. Well, maybe it's reversed. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu told it to Moshe Rabbeinu. The opposite. Moshe Rabbeinu decided there's no chronological order, and he put Aleph in front of Bais. But maybe Bais came before Aleph. Maybe it's really a prat or klal. Who told you it's a klal or prat? There's no chronological order in the Torah. Maybe it's the reverse. Besu Pratu klal, and then if you have a pratu klal, nasa klal moisif ala prat dilma klal pratu. Same question, but on the second halacha. Question on pratu klal instead of klal prat. Iachi afilu between yan and ami. Well, so what if it's two different inyanim? If so, you have the same idea. You have a klal prat in Chumash Bereshis. You have a klal in Chumash Bereshis, and then in Shmooze you have a prat. So there's one man that says you can't learn a klal prat. They're too far away from each other. But okay, so that's not a problem. But according to the mandam, it says if it's who knows where, so far apart, you can still put them together and make a klal prat. Michael and Meimar. At the end of the day, it's two different parshas, two different places. Says Gemara, I'm not taking it back, says Reb Papa. If it's one inyan, it's one category, how do you say inyan? Losing everybody. One inyan. Everybody knows what an inyan is. What? Subject. Thank you. Okay, you know what? I'm taking you out of just being a Balkaira. Now I'm generalizing you. You were a prat, you were a Balkaira only, now you're a klal. Okay, honey, and now you're going to get a text from your cousin saying that he saw that you're a klal. Let's see if he's still on. Who knows if he's still on. Honey, Mili, because I gave him the shtach the other day. I said he's a Balkaira only, and his cousin said, now you're Balkaira only. Fine. Some guy that he never knew that listens to the shir. What? Oh, he's the one that's. By the way, I'm serious. If any one of you want your money back, I have no problem. This is what I got in the morning. I had no time to ask people. He wasn't aware of you. You weren't aware of him. So, you know what I mean. Fine. Next, tell him that he could have his money back. We love your Zayda. He was a gewaldige guy. The whole neighborhood knew him. Everybody loved him.
Ellie, we don't give money back. Sorry.
The CFO says no money back. You know what? You don't give him back, I'll give him back from my own pocket. I have no problem. Ain't done him. Fine. By the way, just as a side thing, because we're running out of time here, Tosfos says that in the two luchas, it's amazing, the two luchas, which were written slightly different, it's considered one inyan, even though the different places they were given b'dibur echad. Fine. Omer Rav Yud Omer Rav. Very important sugya that we're going to do. We're going to run through it in 35 seconds here, because we only have 35 seconds left. Omer Rav Yud Omer Rav. When you do b'dika, and that's everybody's familiar. That's what's so geschmack here. We know, we're familiar, just explaining why. Did anybody ever think about it? We do b'dikas chametz on, the night before the seder, and we do bittul then. But then we sit down and we eat pizza and donuts and all the great zachen. But we did bittul, and then we do bittul again by the streifas chametz. What's going on? Says Rav, I'll tell you why. You have to do it at night. My timer. What's the reason? Says the Gemara. Maybe you have some crumbs laying around. They're insignificant. Nobody cares about crumbs. But you lock the door and you safeguard your silver and your gold, so the crumbs are part of that shmirah. Let's say you have the unripe teinim, the leftovers, the end of the figs. The end of the batch, and you're guarding your field because of the good grapes, or the opposite. The garbage grapes, you have some gourds over there, you're watching it for something else. It depends. If he cares about them, if he's very careful about these garbage grapes, I don't know what he's going to do with them, give it to the animals. So, you're a ganav, and you're chayav meiser. Here's the point that we're looking for. What if you don't care about it? It's like the crumbs on the floor. You mamish don't care. You wish it wasn't even there. Mutar mishum gezel. If you come in and steal it, you're not over on any gezel. Uptu minam meiser, mishum meiser. So too, even though you're guarding your field because you have pumpkins and watermelon and all that stuff, but I don't care about the garbage grapes and garbage figs. You're not a ganav. You're not chayav in meiser on them. So too, I don't care about my crumbs. You're not a ganav if you take my crumbs. So I shouldn't be chayav. Okay, so you're right. Omar Rava, the famous Rava Gzeiro Shema Yimtza Gluska Yafa. Here we could go back to the great. Okay, you guys know what a good Danish looks like, right? Glusko yafa v'daita levei. Maybe you'll fall upon a great looking cake or something. So you have to be mevatel. Well, the Gemara didn't answer yet. Why at night? That may be tomorrow. So be mevatel right now. So this is where the Ran got his beautiful idea from. But maybe you'll find it on Yantif. It's not yours to be mevatel. Why? Amazing. There are two things that are not yours. The Torah put it right back into your possession only to make it also for you. You go in the middle of a busy street and you dig a ditch. It's not yours. You don't own it. It's everybody's. But the Torah made it yours that you're chayiv if somebody falls in there. The Torah really says it's not yours. You don't own it. It's chametz. But the Torah puts it right back into your possession so that you are chayiv on the isser. That's why the Ran says, that's why it's enough in a bittul. You don't need to do what Taisa says a hefker in front of 3 people. Fine, let's stop here. The Gemara just goes on to say, so why at night? Why not at the day? Why not in the morning? Why not here? Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. Shir on Motzei Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael at 7 o'clock. Bais, have a wonderful day and a wonderful Shabbos.
Kim khas li khol man tivarei kibis yada kibsa nafshi v'livro chalti yachshilad na mishamim laboiker shomrim laboiker yachal yisal al Adonai kim alai chesed v'abei ma'ifdu lo'if tesisar v'tol v'neshal אחינו כבייסר ונשצ'ר מסר ושבעה מדמד ביום הבן בעבר שמק ואחרונים מציר מסר וחוף אליו שבדלו גלה שתבר אליו זמן כבין אמר אמן.
Amen.
There's a coffee on the table, and I thought that Avodah Zarah sugya, and there's another sugya that also came up. We had 2 sugyas from today that we've had before in the 2.5
this is Yeshua Aaron Price. If anybody is wondering who that is talking, that's Yeshua Aaron Price, the one that gave the card. Who's that? Oh, I'll just go like this. Here we go. Better? Ah, where are you guys? Where are you located? Where is he? He's in Crown Heights?
Yeah, sounds like it.
No, they're Los Angeles.
No, that's Los Angeles, right. That's Los Angeles. I forgot. Right. Peshalevsky. Well, what's going on? A niggin, but what happened to the sponsorship? I don't see any sponsors here. What's going on?
They're frozen.
Oh, but did you hear Eli? Eli, today there was a Lubavitcher guy. He was in a coma in the hospital with COVID for 252 days, and he was just released tonight.
Really?
Wow.
It sounds like what like Biden and Trump, like they're gonna release the vaccine as Biden comes in. So the guy was healed 2 days ago, but the Lubavitchers made sure they don't release, not releasing the Yad Kislev. No, okay, wow, that is talking amazing. Yeah.
He went straight to the oil. He missed to see him, the guy.
Good morning,
He did not go to the oil. No way.
Yeah, on the way home.
Are you serious? What, in a wheelchair and everything? You mean he was probably very weak?
Beautiful.
Biden stopped at the oil?
No. This guy that was in a coma. Biden's in the basement. Use your man on his way home.
Wow.
Listen, when somebody's a chusid, he's a chusid. Pull. Biden, real chusid.
Wow.
Do you know I'm an Eladik chusid. It is a great deal about Abe Sharp.
We never had 87 people stay on after shir. That's kind of that's a record.
Stick around, Ellie. We have a lot more.
No, because I turned it around. Somebody sent me an email. They want to see what's going on YouTube, Bais, whatever. So I said I'll turn it around. He's right. Why should it be facing me? Doesn't make any sense. Besides, I'm here anyways. I'm on this screen. If anybody wants to see what I look like. Shmooly, I missed you. Shmooly, what's going on? Why can't you get up early? I don't chop. What's the big deal to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to learn Torah?
Good question. I get up at 7.
That's what we do.
You're in New York, but
Welcome back.
Shmuley, you get up at 7, I get up at 9.
time out. Is Shmuley on or that's just a picture? Hold on. It could be they pulled a fast one on us. You see Avram Weissfish? What?
Rabbi Shampol is on, I see. From Leeds.
Oh, he is? Where is he? We have to say Moki Menachem to him, no?
Who is on the next screen?
Hold on. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Michael, Amokim Menachem Eschem B'soich Shara Ve'el Tzir Yerushalayim V'lo Yisosifu L'dav Ha'oid. Shouldn't have any more tsar.
Thank you very much.
Only Simchas.
Thank you
Only
very much.
Simchas. Wow. When did you get up? When did you get up? You just got up?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I've been with you since 5 o'clock.
No, I'm saying get up from Shiva. When did you get up from Shiva?
Oh, yes, no, last Monday. Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
It's 2 weeks now. 2 weeks since my
Wow.
wife passed away.
How old was she?
How old? She was 74.
Wow.
A young lady. Cancer, from cancer, yeah.
Is that why your son moved back to Leeds?
Partly, yeah. Yeah.
So does that mean he's gonna stay or he's gonna go back to Sweden?
He's gonna stay a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
Like,
wow.
maybe. So he's not quite sure yet.
The belly
Ali, remember Abe Sharp?
Who?
Abe Sharp.
No.
Abe Sharp?
No, who's that?
Yosef Davis' brother-in-law.
I knew he's from Kentucky. His wife's from Kentucky.
Yeah. That is
Wait,
Abe.
Really?
Somebody else has a wife from Kentucky?
Yeah. No,
Am I right? He was in the food business, wholesale food business,
Yes,
like 40 years ago.
his wife's a Glickman.
So what happened? He passed away?
Yeah, he was Nifter. He worked in the CRC.
Oh.
When was it? Abe was Nifter?
Abe Sharp was Nifter? Yeah.
Do I know him, Shmuley?
Wait, who was this?
He's a Chicagoan. He lived in Sacramento. Yep.
How old was he?
70s. Wasn't old. He was that old.
I don't think it was that old.
Wait a minute, I have to figure something out here. Avram Weissfish, what's going on? Is Shmuley watching on a different device? I see 2 devices here. He's not watching. Okay, it's just he got me excited during share. I thought, wow, Shmuley's watching this. It's just a background.
I think, Rebelli, at times there are certain things that we don't say in case people are hearing.
Oh.
By the way, just for Abe.
I
I need your number, by the way. Burn out.
Maybe we should switch up the YouTube and I'll edit some of this out.
What part about Shmuley Weissfish?
For many years.
Number now.
Ach,
As we switch to that.
what are the chances that his Rebbe's watching?
Rana.
We hope his rabbis are watching. They're learning Torah, learning the daf for them.
Okay, so if they're watching and learning the daf, they'll be moichelim. I'm telling you, it's a mamanavshach.
Have a good Shabbos.
Thanks, Shmuley. What? You're sticking it out. You're sticking it out. Hey, we're already at Daf Zayin. It's unbelievable. Stick it out. Not stop sticking it out. You're one of the first ones on the Zoom, so it's unbelievable. And Lauren, I see you're also zooming it.
Eli, Shmuley has me call him at 6:45 in the morning to make sure he's up this year.
You know Shmuley from before?
Hatzalah.
Ah.
How many seconds?
You want to hear something, Shmuley, about Atzalah? A Maisa Shahaya. You could ask Yosef Ben Zev. When that guy, I forgot his name was, is Alicia Pereiro's brother was nifter in the J, and the ambulance took 15-20 minutes to come. I went to Rabbi first. I sat down. I said, I want to open up Hatzalah. And then I brought Yosef Ben Zev. You could ask Yosef Ben Zev. I said, we got to do this. He says, okay, let me bring in. He brought in a certain individual that had, I'm not going to say his name, that the big, he has a powerful guy that had a lot of connections with the police and this. He said, B'shumay fanat, you're not opening up Hatzalah. It's not going to go well with the local this and the police. They're going to be upset. And I saw him talking to brick wall. I walked away. 6 months later, some guys got together and they were able to do it. You see, I missed the opportunity. I was there, I wanted to, I missed the opportunity.
Ravelli, when he was nifter, I got together with Sri Montrose and another nameless individual, and I started with Rabbi Zev Cohen, and we hacked and we started pushing, and we got it.
You didn't find resistance? So I went to the wrong person. I went to Rabbi First. I thought Rabbi First would be able to do it.
I was in Atol and Flappers for many years.
Ah. So you had a background in this.
Ellie, look at your WhatsApp now. You see. Let's see if you can.
I can, because you know what? Let me shut off Zoom. YouTube.
YouTube.